First priest, come up and present thy registry.
Mayad, Ban Yahawda, Ban Yasharala.
Mayad, Ben Yahawda, Ben Yasharala.
Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Barakathum.
Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Barakathum.
La Yasharala.
Major, which makes it stand. Point out the dumb, we turn to face the east. We'll get the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kwadash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malapaka, Dama'ah, Ratazak, Hayah, Aisha, Baratazah, Kuwa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathalanau, Come, Cal, Yawam, Wasalak now, Kabawak now, Kasalak now, Kabawaya now, Wala'a, Tabayaya now, Wanasai one, a ball, Kabashaya now, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Kamalakwa, Waha'ala, Watapara, Nawalami, Aman. Our Father,
which art in heaven,
hallowed
be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth as it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day
our daily bread.
our daily bread.
Forgive us of our debts.
Forgive us of our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not.
And lead us not
into
temptation.
But deliver us.
From
evil.
From evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever. So be it.
So be it. I caught the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahweh Shai. Baba Kwashah. Nathalanau. Hakak. Larpa'ah. Call Makallah. We call Madawa. Hakak. Latahar. Hamataza Ryan. Hakak. Lahaki. Hamati. Hakak. Arakawa. Tama'ala. The Garshan. Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Wadaman. Yahweh.
And then Yahushua.
Please
give us the power.
Please give us the power.
Power to heal.
Power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
All manner of disease.
Power to cleanse the leper.
Power to cleanse the leper.
Power to raise the dead.
Power to raise the dead.
Power against unclean spirits.
Power against unclean spirits.
Cast them out.
Cast them out.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you so be it.
Thank you so be it. Plan of best Israel in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahweh Shai. Raklanau. Mayasha'ala. Wahabayah. Saparius. Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Wadaman.
Lord. In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Bless us. In Israel. In the school. Bless. Heal. Shield. Protect. In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you so be it.
Thank you so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah. Ayanya. Al-Hahari. Ma'ayan. Yaba'ah. Isariah. Ma'ayin. Yahweh. Aisha. Shemayam. Wa'aratazah. Ayatan. Namawat. Regalka. Al-Yanawam. Shamarka. Hanala'ah. Yanawam. Wala'ah. Yayashan. Shawamar. Yasha'ala. Yahweh. Shamarka. Yahweh. Tazalka. Al-Yah. Yamika. Yawamam. Hashemash. Ya'ah. Yakaika. Wayarak. Balayallah. Yahweh. Yashamarka. Bakal Rai. Yashamar. Afna Pasha. Yahweh, Yeshua, Taza'at, Wabawa'ak, Ma'ita, Wa'ai, Awalam.
In the English, I lift up my eyes into the hills.
I will lift up my eyes unto the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from the Lord.
My help cometh from the Lord,
Which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
Even I suffer thy foot to be moved.
Even I suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee,
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel,
he that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil.
The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy
The
soul.
Lord shall preserve thy going out.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
And thy coming in.
and thy coming in.
From this time forth,
From this time forth,
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayam,
Alahayam,
Al-Dawiyah,
Al-Dawiyah,
Lika,
Lika,
Al-Takaras,
Al-Takaras,
Al-Tashakwat,
Al-Taswat,
Al Kayahana,
Yahana,
Wabiyaka,
Wabiyaka,
Yahama,
Yahama,
Yawan,
Yawan,
Ra'ash,
Ra'ash,
Al-Amaka,
Al-Amaka,
Yaira Yambu,
Yahweh,
Sawada,
Sawadah,
Wayata,
Wayatah,
Ya'ai Tazawa,
Yahai,
Al Tazapawayaka,
Al-Tazawah,
Marwa,
Amaru,
Lakawa,
Lakawa,
Wanakaki Adam,
Lakakidah,
Magoya,
Gauya,
Wala'a,
Wala'ah,
Yazakar,
Yazakar,
Shum Yasha'an,
Yasha'an,
Iwada,
Abidah,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Nawai Tazawa,
Nahai, Tazawah,
Laba,
Laba,
Yakad,
Yakad,
Ayaka,
Ayah,
Barya,
Barayah,
Yakaratu,
Yakaratu,
Ahoya,
Ahoy,
Adawan,
Adawah,
Wayashamai,
Wayashamai,
Alayam,
Aliyah,
Mawa'ama,
Lawah,
Wahagaria,
Wangari,
Gabal,
Gabal,
Wa'amawan,
Wangwan,
Wa'amalak,
Wamalat,
Palashat,
Palashah,
Am Yashabi,
Amishai,
Tazawar,
Tazawah,
Gum Ashawar,
Gul Ashawah,
Nalawa,
Nawah,
Imam,
Imam,
Hayawa,
Hayawah,
Zawawai,
Yarawah,
Labanya,
Banya,
Lawat,
Sawat,
Salah,
Salah,
Aisha,
Aisha,
Laham,
Laham,
Kamadi,
Kamadi,
Kasaya,
Kasiyah,
Sara'ah,
Sara'ah,
Kayabi,
Yabi,
Banakal,
Banakal,
Koyashawan,
Washwan,
Nashamad,
Nashman,
Bayan,
Bayan,
Da'ira,
Ayr,
Hayawa,
Hayawah,
Daman,
Daman,
La Adam,
La'adam,
Shayatam,
Sayyidawah,
Nada,
Nadab,
Yatmua,
Yadmur,
Kaira,
Kyra,
Wakazaba,
Wakazabah,
Wakazaba,
Wakazabah,
Wakazalmanai,
Wakazalmanai,
Kal Nasiyakam,
Karnasiyakam,
Ashar,
Ashar,
Amarwa,
Amaru,
Nairusha,
Nairusha,
Nanawa,
Nalawah,
Af,
Ah,
Na'awa,
Na'awah,
Alahayam,
Alahayah,
Alahaya,
Alahayah,
Shayatam,
Sayyidawah,
Kagalgala,
Kagagala,
Kakwash,
Kakwash,
Lapanya,
Manu,
Rawaka,
Rawaka,
Ka'ash,
Ka'ah,
Tabaira,
Dawa'ayr,
Ya'ira,
Ya'ayr,
Wakalahama,
Wakalahah,
Talahat,
Talahat,
Hariyam,
Ariyah,
Khan,
Khan,
Dabadatma,
Daradam,
Basa'ira,
Basa'ayr,
Wabasa,
Wabasa,
Patka,
Wapaka,
Dabahalam,
Dawahalam,
Mala'a,
Mala'ah,
Panyaham,
Maniham,
Kwalawan,
Walawan,
Waya,
Wayah,
Bukwash,
Wakwash,
Shibka,
Shimka,
Yahawa,
Yahawah,
Yabash,
Yabash,
Waya,
Wayah,
Bahom,
Mahal,
Adiya'i,
Ayai,
Waya,
Wayah,
Kapara,
Par,
Waya,
Wayah,
Abad,
Abad,
Waya,
Wayah,
Da'iwa,
Da'ayr,
Kaya,
Ayah,
Ata,
Atah,
Shibka,
Shimka,
Yahawa,
Yahawah,
Labadka,
Tabaka,
Ayawan,
Ayawan,
Al,
Ah,
Ka,
Ka,
Haratazah.
Tarazah.
In the English, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh,
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh,
and hold not thy peace,
and hold not thy peace,
and be not still,
and be not still,
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
for lo,
for lo,
thy enemies make atonement,
thy enemies make atonement,
and they that hate thee,
they that hate thee,
I lift up the head,
have lifted up the head,
that take crafty counsel,
and have taken crafty counsel
against thy people,
against thy people,
and consulted,
and consulted
against thy hidden ones.
against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
come,
Come,
let's cut them off,
let us cut them off,
from being a nation,
from being a nation,
that the name of Israel,
that the name of Israel
may be no more in
may
remembrance,
be no more in remembrance.
For they have consulted together,
For they have consulted together
with one consent,
with one consent.
they have confederate against
They are confederate against thee.
the tabernacles of Edom,
The tabernacles of Edom,
and the Ishmaelite,
and the Ishmaelites,
of Moab,
of Moab,
and the Hagarenes,
and the Hagarenes,
Gabal,
Gabal,
Ammon,
Ammon,
Amalek,
Amalek,
the Philistines,
the Philistines,
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Asher is also a joint with them.
Asher was also joined with them.
That hope in the the children of Lot.
Give hope to the children of Lot.
To love.
To
Do unto them.
Do unto them.
As to the Midianites.
As to the Midianites.
As to Sisera.
As to Sisera.
As to Jabin.
As to Jabin.
At the brook of Kissam.
At the brook of Kissam.
Which prayerful endure.
Which prayerful endure.
They become as known for the earth.
They become known for the earth.
Make their nose like a red.
Make their nose like a red.
And looks ahead.
Like the air.
Yea.
Yea.
All the princes of all the princes as above.
All the princes as above.
And as the Muda.
And as the Muda.
Who said, let us take to ourselves.
Let us take to ourselves
the house of God in possession.
the house of God in possession.
All my power.
All my power.
Make them like a wheel.
Make them like a wheel.
As a stubble before the wind.
As a stubble before the wind.
As a fire burns for wood.
As the fire burneth the wood.
As the flames set the mouths on fire.
As the flames set the mouths on fire.
So persecute them.
So persecute them.
Without temper.
Without temper.
Make them afraid.
And make them afraid.
Without storm.
Without storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame.
They may seek thy name.
They may seek thy name.
O your house.
O your house.
Let them be confounded.
Let them be confounded.
In trouble forever.
In trouble forever.
Yea.
Yea.
Let them be put to shame.
Let them be put to shame.
And perish.
And perish.
That men may know.
That men may know.
That thou.
That thou.
Whose name alone.
Whose name alone.
Is your house.
Is your house.
Art the most high.
Art the most high.
Over all the earth.
Over all the earth.
Sir, Sabbath, seated.
All right, so last supper service in which we were here at the school, we left off in the book of Joshua, the 15th chapter, and we the last verse was on verse 21. All right, so the brother's going to go ahead and grab the scripture, and he's going to read that in the Lashon Gadash. But before you read that, I want you to go up a few verses. Bear with me for a moment. I want you to read verse 16. All right. So on last supper service, we read Joshua the 15th chapter. We was halfway on through, and there was one question that a few brothers happened to have pertaining towards Caleb and his brother and his daughter. And now we actually do have the understanding of what the scripture is actually talking about. So we're going to go ahead and break that on down for you right now.
So I shall read it in English.
In English.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 15, and verse 16. And Caleb said, he that smiteth Kirjath Sepher and taketh it, to him will I give Aksah, my daughter, to wife.
Okay, so we read this last week as far as Caleb giving a portion of land over to a man who better go ahead and kill this heathen to where he would be the one who would be worthy of having the land and his daughter. Let's go ahead.
Verse 17. And Othniel, the son of Kizah, the brother of Caleb, took it, and he gave him Aksah, his daughter, to wife.
All right, so it may seem like it's actually incest, but it's actually not.
Right.
You understand? Barakatah Yahweh Yahushua for General Muhammad coming on out and actually breaking that scripture on down for us on scripture breakdown class. You understand? It's just a regular brother just in general. It's not his brother by blood. All right. So if you want to finish that on up.
Khan. And it came to pass, as she came unto him, that she moved him to ask her father a field.
Okay, that's it. All right, so that scripture right there is not talking about Caleb's brother, his physical brother, by the flesh, actually marrying his daughter. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't marry anybody who was near kin. You can't marry your daughter. You can't marry your niece. You can't marry who else? You can't marry your aunt. You can't marry your in-laws. You understand? Because that would be too close of kin. All right. But this right here was just a brother, just in general. All right.
You even speak on like stepsisters and stepmothers, none of that stuff.
Right. Stepsisters, stepbrothers. You can't marry any of them. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and read Joshua 15 and verse 21 in the Hebrew.
God. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 15 and verse 21 in the Hebrew. Yahayawa, Hariyam, Mukwataza, Lamata, Banya, Yahayara, Al, oh, Salakia, Yahawada, Salakia, Al, Nabawal, Nagawal, I'm sorry, Gabawal, Adawam, Banagaba, Kwabatazal, Adar, sorry, yeah, Adar, Wayagawar, verse 22, Wakoyana, Yakuna, Wadayam, Wana, Wadar, Wadara, Wa'idar, Slakia, the Ida, verse 23, Wakadash, Wakatazawa, Wakatazawar, Wayatana, sorry, is that right? Wayatanan, the water. Verse 24, Zayap, Watalam, Wabai Lawath, verse 25, Wakatazwar, Wakatazawar, Kadata, or Kadata,
You gotta read the first time.
Kadata, the water, sir. Dayawath, require your rod. Katazarana, Katazarayawan, Haya, Katazawar,
Sorry, that was
Haya, Katazawar. Verse 26, Amam, Washamai, Mabu, Salaki. Wama, Ladaha. Verse 27, Wakatazar, Gadaha, Gadah, Wakashamawan, Wakashmawan, Wabayath, Palat. It's the book of Joshua, chapter 15 and verse 21 in the English. And the uttermost cities of the tribe of the children of Judah.
The uttermost what?
The uttermost cities of the tribe of the children of Judah, towards the coast of Edom, southward, were Kabzael and Adir and Jagor.
So now what we're reading right now in the book of Joshua, the 15th chapter, is that now we're reading the history of all of the cities that belong to our so-called Negroes, which come from the tribe of Judah. These are all the cities that we had in the land of Judah. All right, so go ahead.
Come.
Just like for example, let's say if we happen to have the whole entire state of Illinois, and it belongs towards black people, that would be also called form of reparations. You understand? Chicago would be our city. You understand? You would have Cicero, that would be our city. You understand? You would have Inglewood, that would be our city. You understand? Just trying to think of it like that. Go ahead.
Come. Verse 22. And Kainah, and Damonah, and Adadah. Verse 23. And Kadesh, and Hazor, and Ithnan. Verse 24. And Ziph, and Telim, and Bealoth. Verse 25. And Hazor, Hadattah, and Kiriath, and Hezron, which is Hazor. Verse 26. Amam, and Shema, and Moladah. Verse 27. And Hazagadah, and Heshmon, and Beth Palet.
Okay, so now let's go back to the Lashon Kodash.
Come.
We actually had a lot of cities in the land of Judah. A lot of people like to think that we just got one little small portion, that Israel just like one little small portion of land. You understand? To where Israel is much more bigger than you think it is.
Right.
All right. When you actually look at it on a map. All right.
Yes, the book of Joshua, chapter 15, verse 28, in the Hebrew. Because the Zar, Shawa'al, Waba'al, Shemai, Wabazayo, Watiyah, verse 29, Ba'ila, Wa'ayayam, Wa'itazam, verse 30, Wa'alat, Walad, Wabasayal, Wakarma, verse 31, Watazakulad, Wamadamana, Wamad Mana, Wasan Sana, verse 32, Walaba'awaf, Washalakayam, Washalakian, Wayan, Warabawan, Call, Arayam, Isharian, Watashai, because of Tar Yahan, verse 33, Bashapala, Ashata Awal, what is our eye? What is our right? What is our right? What Ashana, verse 34, was in the Waf, what Ayan, Ganayam, Tapawaf, what Ayanam, verse 35.
That was it. All right, so let's go ahead and hit up the English.
You guys always stuff.
All right, this is the book of Joshua, chapter 15 and verse 28. And Hazashual, and Beersheba, and Bizjatja, verse 29. Baalah, and Aim, and Azim, verse 30. And El-Thalad, and Chisel, and Hormah, verse 31. And Ziklag, and Ziklag, and Madmanah, and Sananah, verse 32. And Lebaath, and Shalim, and Ayin, and Rimmon. All the cities were 29 with their villages.
How many?
29 with their villages.
So we had 29 cities in the land of Judah. All right, so go ahead.
Verse 33, and in the valley, Eshtaol, and Zoriah, and Ashna. Verse 34, in Zanoah, and Ganim, Tepuah, and Enam.
Okay. So now it's me. You can go ahead and read the next 7 in the Lashon Kodash.
Amakan. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 15, and verse 35 in the Hebrew. Or the Mawath. I'm sorry. Or Ramawath. Or Idalam. Shavakah. Shavakaha. Shavakah. Or Isaac. Verse 36. Washariyam. Washariyam. Wa'ai Diyathim. Wahagadra. Wagad Rathium. Ariyam. Arabai. Asherah. Wakatazar Yahan. Verse 37. Tazanan. Wakadashah. Wamagadla. Oh, sorry, Salakia. Wamagadal. Gad. Verse 38. With the line. Wahumatazar Tizapah. Wayakathal. Verse 39. Lakayash. Wabatazak. Wabatazakwath. The waters. Wagadak. What I gal one. Verse 40. Wakabawan. Will it come up?
That's what's up, man.
That's the son, Salaki. Will it kamas? Will Kathla Yash? Verse 41. We'll get the would God Ra'ath. Bayath. We'll get the one. With Naima. With Makarat. With Makara. The Salaki. With Makada. Ariyam. Shasha. Asherah. With Katazar Rayan. Right. It's the book of Joshua, chapter 15. So like in verse 35 in the English. Jarmuth and Abdullam. Soko. and Azekah, verse 36, and Shiraim, and Adaithaim, Tha'im, and Gedarah, and Gederathaim, Tha'im, 14 cities with their villages.
Right. We also have villages as well, just like America has villages.
That's right.
It's like they have townships and lakes, and how America even also have mountains and different sceneries, which niggas and Hispanics don't even get a chance of seeing.
Right.
Can't forget about our North American Indian brothers on the reservations. You know what I'm saying? We stuck in a hole to where we can't even leave out of our current situation to be able to go ahead and look at a beautiful place like this, let alone our own land. So, you know, when it comes down towards Israel, we got a lot of cities. We got a lot of cities. We got a lot of villages that the Lord promised towards us as a race of people. When the Lord made a covenant with our forefathers, with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, He said that He was going to give that land to us as far as for our inheritance. You understand? When you read the book of Joshua, the 21st chapter, you can better read the major lands that was given as an inheritance towards every tribe. Right now, what we're just reading what cities and what villages that are in vivid detail that is within these lands. But if you like to know the whole entire bulk, the water, if you like to know the whole entire bulk of what was the inheritance that was given to us each tribe, just read Joshua chapter 21. You understand? And you can even also read Numbers chapter 3, to where it even says it in vivid detail as far as what will be given towards us based off what tribe we come from. All right, so go ahead.
Verse 37, Zenan and Hadashah and Migdagal. Verse 38, and Dilian and Mizpah and Joktael. Verse 39, Lachish and Bazkath and Eglon. Verse 40, Kaban and Lamam and Kithlish. Verse 41, and Gedarath, Beth Dagon and Naamah and Mekadah, 16 cities with their villages.
All right, so we read in verse 36 how there were 14 cities with their villages, and then verse 41, we're reading now that there are now 16 more cities with their villages. We had a lot of territory to cover. All right, Mayad.
So like I said, and then in verse 32, there was 29 cities with their villages.
29 cities with their villages. We got a lot of land. There's a reason why the Lord called that land flowing with milk and honey. And actually, when you read the Bible, when you read the book of Genesis, where the Lord created Adam and Eve in a garden, and He placed them in the garden, that garden was Israel.
Right.
You understand? The Garden of Eden was Israel. That was that land to where you had the 4 rivers, to where you had 4 different rivers. I forgot the name of those rivers that came out of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And watered the whole entire land. You understand? Some of those rivers went to some parts of Africa. Some parts of the river went to some parts of Edom, and so on and so forth. All right, but Israel is a very rich land. And if you happen to take a trip over there, the food is just so pure. You know, you understand? They don't have no processed food over in Israel.
Right.
They don't got no GMOs and things of that so forth, and pesticides and crops and things of that so forth. You understand that when you even look at the Mediterranean Sea, the sea and the lakes, the Red Sea, and things of that so forth is clear. You can be able to see at the bottom, but you can't see the bottom of Lake Michigan. You can't see the bottom of the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean. You understand? Because how America likes to dump tons of garbage into these different lakes and rivers and oceans, polluting the water. You understand? That's why when you go to the beach, you see what? You see, happen to see where animals to be washed up.
Right.
You understand? Because they can't even breathe in their own environment. That lets you know that our oppressor is the devil.
That's right.
You understand? But,
Right.
Nonetheless, right here, in which we're reading in the scripture, all of this territory actually belong towards us as the rest of the people. All right, Mayad.
Salakia, sir, if I may, Salakia, and to expound on what you're saying, do we have so much massive land? And we've been reading the book of Joshua for a while, that each tribe has so much land over there. And reading it gets my spirit hype. And I just would like to say to all you heathens that are on our land, when our King Yahweh shall return, we want all our land back. Everything that we're reading right now in this book everything we're reading in these chapters of Joshua, all the inheritance over there, we want y'all back off our land, and we want our land back.
Right.
That's all I want to say, sir. It's a lot.
Right. Even though they fighting for the Gaza Strip right now, that Gaza Strip actually belongs towards black people.
Right.
You understand? That's our land.
Right.
You understand? That Muslim mosque that they got over there. I meant to say they on the Mecca stone. That they got over in what place is
the
that?
Cobblestone over
The Cobblestone over in
Mecca.
In Mecca.
Yeah,
You understand? Mecca's our territory now.
That's
You
right.
understand? Just like the same way Saudi Arabia is ours, Pakistan, Iran, Iraq.
Ours.
You understand? All of that is all Israel's territory. Wrong?
So I just following up, riding off what y'all saying. It's like these so-called black Muslims today.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They so twisted. They following men laws instead of the Most High's laws, man.
Right.
You know, I'm talking to them, and it's like they got so many different rules that's against the laws and commandments of the Most High. You know, so they believe they sleep with prostitutes, they getting high, they doing all kind of weird stuff, and they praying to Allah. And like you said, Mecca Stone, when the Lord sent that coronavirus to the earth, you didn't see nobody going around this stone.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? They know it's like the Islam and Christianity, man, is destroying us to a point where you can see it now. But yet people refuse to turn back to the Most High. Man.
Right.
That's crazy as hell.
And the thing is, add on to towards what you're saying is so heavy is that our people who are within the Nation of Islam and the Farrakhan, they don't even teach from the Bible. I mean, they don't teach from the Quran. They teach from the Bible.
Right.
You understand? Which lets you know that what they stand on is not actually Arab culture, even though they're trying to plagiarize their best after a religion that's not even pertained towards us as a race of people. Even when you look into the Quran, you better see how in the book of Sirach 1:22, how Israel is preferred above all the nations.
Right.
You can better see how laws that they have in the Quran that says that if a woman is not obeying what you're telling her to do, then you have the right to beat her. You understand? But yet they like to slap that on the table on the Farrakhan's movement. You understand? They don't want to talk about that.
Right.
You understand? Because that's what the Arabs do over in their land. They beat their woman. You understand? There's a reason why they cover their whole entire face up and their whole body up. They don't allow no skin to show. You understand? Because they probably got bruises on me. You understand? So, everything that our brothers and sisters do in the Nation of Islam, it's all vanity.
Right.
You understand? It ain't nothing that we're gonna gain some source of satisfaction as far as for actually knowing who we are,
right,
and where we need to go, because they don't have the solution towards getting ourselves out of this hellhole condition which we're living in right now.
That's right.
You understand? But only the Isupk, only Commander Johanna, that actually provides the real knowledge of what the Bible is actually talking about.
That's right.
All right. So let's get back to the scripture.
Sorry, sir. What was that in? 35 through 41. I think that was it, sir.
That was it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's read the next 7.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 15, verse 42 in the Hebrew. Labanah, Wa'ithar, Wa'ishan, verse 43. Wa'yapatah, it's like Wa'yapatak. Wa'ashana, Wanatazayah, verse 44. Waqwa Ayala, Wa'kazayah, Wamara Awa, it's like Wamara Asha, Ariyam, the Shai, Wakatazar Yahan, verse 45. Aquarian, Wabanataya, Wakatazaria, verse 46. Marikwan, Wayama, Kal, Ashar, Al, Yad, Ashadawar, it's like Ashadawad, Wakatazarium, it's like Wakatazariahan, verse 47. Ashadawad, Banawataya, Wakatazaria, Isaac, Banawataya, Wakatazaria, like Wakatazaria, Nakal, Batazarian, Wahayam, Hagabawal, Hagadawal, Wagabawal, verse 48, Wabahar, Shamayar, Wayatayar, Washawaka, verse 40.
So it's the book of Joshua, chapter 15, Salaki, in verse 22. Salaki, 42. In the English, Libnah and Ether and Ashan, verse 43, and Jiftah and Ashna and Nazib, verse 44, and Keilah and Akzib and Marishah, 9 cities with their villages.
All right, so now we have 9 cities along with the villages in which the brother just read. Go ahead.
Verse 45, Ekron with her towns and her villages. Verse 46, from Ekron even unto the sea, all that lay near Ashdod with their villages. Verse 47, Ashdod with her towns and her villages. Gaza with her towns and her villages.
What line?
Gaza with her towns and her villages.
All right, go ahead.
Unto the river of Egypt and the great sea and the border thereof.
I just said that Gaza belong to us.
Right.
Khan.
It's in the scriptures.
Khan.
All right, go ahead.
Verse 48, and in the mountains, Shamir and Jatir and Sokol. That's it for the English.
All right, next 7.
Khan. It's the book of Joshua, chapter 15 and verse 49 in the Hebrew. Wadanah, Wakayath, Sanah, Haya'ah, Debar, verse 50. Wainab, Wa'ashath Maha, Wa'ashath Maha, Wa'ashathma, Wa'nayam, verse 51. Wagashab, Wagashan, Wakalan, Wagala, Ariyam, Akath, Asherah, Wakatazar, Yahan, verse 52. Adab, Ramah, Washa'an, verse 53. Wayanyam, Wayanwam, Wabayath, Tapawak, Tapawak, Paka, verse 54. Wakamata, Wakayath, Awadat, I'm sorry, Adabai, Arabai, I was right the first time. Haya'ah, Kabrawan, Watazayai, Watazaiah, Ariyam, Dashai, Wakatazar, Yahan, verse 55. Ma'awan, Karamal, was a Yah. Waya Wata. Verse 56. Waya Zar Ayal. Waya Karaim. Oh, sorry. Waya Kodaim. Wazan Yak. Verse 57. Wazanawak. Verse 57. Hakayan. Goodbye. Goodbye, her. With the nama. Oh, sorry. Salakia. With the mana. Awayam. Aishar. Wakatazar Yahan. Verse 58.
That was it.
That was it. Salakia. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 15, and verse 49 in the English. And Dana and Kajat Sana, which is the beer.
Second,
Common Constitution, 49. We ended at 48. All right. Book of Joshua, chapter 15, and verse 49 in the Hebrew. And Dana in the English, Salakia. And Dana and Kajat Sana, which is the beer. And Anah, and Eshtamah, and Anim.
all right. So as the brother's reading, he basically just reading the mountains that is in the land of Judah, along with the villages. All right. For me, for me personally, I would want to stay up on the mountaintop. You understand? Just me, my castle, my rib, my kids. You understand? I ain't gonna be like Esau. He's gonna go ahead. Ain't gonna be like down low on the bottom on the lakeshore coast and be on the beach house or someplace like that, living in luxury. My luxury gonna be on top. You understand? Where like where the temple is at, which was built upon a mountain. All right, so go ahead.
Verse 51. And Goshen, and Holon, and Gilo, 11 cities with their villages.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 52. Arab, and Dumah, and Ishian. Verse 53.
Right. Arab. I mean, I got to break this on down because Arab right here is also even in the scriptures. But niggas, we like to say Arab.
Right.
we don't say Arab. You know what I'm saying? We say Arab. All what that means is, and all what that means is in the Hebrew, it means ambush. You understand? It's just a land that's in Palestine that belongs towards us as well. All right, so go ahead.
Khan. Verse 53. And Janam, and Beth Tapua, and Afrikah. Verse 54. And Humtah, and Kajitaba, which is Hebron, and Zior, 9 cities with their villages. Verse 55. Maon, Carmel, and Ziph, and Jittah. Verse 56. Jezreel, and Jokdeam, and Zanoah. Verse 57. Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 cities with their villages.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 58.
And also keep in mind too as well, like at the very beginning of time, when the Lord created everybody, it wasn't that many people when the Lord created not just only Adam and Eve, but also the other nations that was along with Adam.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? That was also considered nations. And throughout the generations from Adam going on down his lineage, we will name different provinces of land after the name of our sons. You understand? There's a reason why Canaan there's a reason why Canaan, which the old term for Israel, was named after Ham's son. You understand? And then of course we want to name it the land of Canaan Israel because we took it over.
Right.
It's like how you have what else? Just like what the brother just read here in the scripture as far as the Cain. You understand? It's named after a man. You understand? Just like Jezreel. Jezreel was a brother in the scripture. You understand? Named after a man. So, a lot of the terms from what you're reading here in the scriptures is actually what was once named after actual men. All right. Unlike Chicago. Chicago, what nigga devil do you know was named Chicago?
Right.
You understand? Our oppressor, he names cities and he names places not after people, but just comes up with different names out the blue that you never heard of before. New Hampshire, you never heard no person named Hampshire. You never heard no person named Philadelphia.
Right.
You understand? But you see how according to the Bible, lands was actually named after people. All right, but it's something that our oppressor could never understand. All right, so go ahead.
Verse 58, Halhul, Bethsur, and Gedor. Verse 59, and Ma'arath, and Bethanath, and El Tikan, 6 cities with their villages. That was it, I believe so.
All right, let's finish the chapter on off.
God.
It's the book of Joshua, chapter 15, verse 60, in the Hebrew. Koyath, Baal, Haya'ah, Koyath, Wayarayum, Waharba, Arayum, Shatayum, Wakatazar Yahan, verse 61, Baba Debar, Bayath, Ha'irabah, Madawan, it's like a Madayan, Wasakaka, verse 62, Wahana Bashan, Wa'ayar, Hamalak, Wa'ayan, Gadiyah, Ariyam, Shasha, Wakatazar Yahan, verse 63, Wa'af, Hayabawasiyah, Yabashabia, Yabawashalam, La'ah, Yabakawa, Yakawa, Banya, Yahawada, Lahawar Yasham, Wayashab, Hayaba Wasaya, Af, Banya, Yahawada, Wayawashalam, I, Hayawam, Hazab, the book of Joshua, chapter 16, verse 1, where it says, Hagawara, Labanya, Yavasa, Mayaman, it's like Mayaradan, Rawayakawa, Lamaya, Yawayakawa, Mazarka, Hamadabar, I love, Mayarayakawa, Bahar, Bayath, all, verse 2, where it says, Mabayath, all, Lawaza, Waibar, all, Gabawal, Ha'arakaya, Aitabawaf, verse 3, Wayard, it's like Wayarad, Yama, all, Gabawal, Hayapalatia, I, Gabawal, Bayah, Harawan, Takatawan, Wa'ai, Gadar, it's like a Gazar. Wahayawa, the Taza Athia. The Taza Athia, the Taza Ya, the Taza the Yawa, Yama. Verse 4. Wayna Kalawa, Wayla Kanawa. Banya, Yabasa, Manasha, Wa'apayam. Verse 5.
That was it. Right. In the book of Joshua, chapter 15 and verse 60 in the English, Kirjath Baal, which is Kirjath Jearim and Rabbah, 2 cities with their villages. In the wilderness, Beth Arabah, Medim, and Sekaka.
All right, so we even also have wildernesses in the land of Judah. Who knows what a wilderness is? Yeah, who knows what a wilderness is? Around?
It's like, wilderness is like a desolate place, some place where maybe reptiles and wildlife might live, open land.
Yeah, a wilderness is just a desert place, like the brother just said. You understand? That would be like the subterranean, the subterranean desert, the water. that would be like a forest preserve, for example, like a forest preserve. That would be like a desert place. Ain't nobody living up in there. You understand? It's a place where it's real desert out. You understand? For example, like, has anybody been to a cornfield? Been to the country? That's like a desert place. Ain't nothing living out there. It's just an open field that just open. All right, so go ahead.
Khan, verse 62, and Nibshan and the city of Salt, and Engedi, 6 cities with their villages. 63. As for the Jebusites, the inhabitants of Jerusalem,
Right, because the Jebusites, they were still in our land. You understand? They were still in Jerusalem to where they was a race of people that just go ahead and read the scripture gonna say.
as for the Jebusites, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the children of Judah could not drive them out.
What they do?
Could not drive them out.
Go ahead.
But the Jebusites dwell with the children of Judah at Jerusalem unto this day.
That's why when you read in the New Testament, you will see how there was a Canaanite woman that came up the Yahushua. Oh, that was in our land. That was in Jerusalem. You understand? To where you would see the Phoenician woman. You understand? Different woman that came up to Christ in the New Testament, because there was a very small amount of people that were still in our land. All right, so go ahead. And the Jebusites, they come from the lineage of Canaan.
Right.
You understand? The Jebusites, I believe that's the 3rd son of Canaan. You understand? And we all know, according to the Bible, Canaan came from Ham. All right, so go ahead.
Sorry, so if I may, and just because it says they dwell with us, I believe a lot of people, I'll say that, get that confused with them actually like joining Israel or being a part of our nation. They
right.
Like how we live among our oppressors. We live among the Edomites. We're not a part of America or their nation. We just live like near them,
right,
in their land. You know, because I've heard people say, well, see, it says right there, they dwell with us to this day. I've heard people put that down like they're with us, they're a part of it. They're not a part of Israel. They just coexist peacefully in our land with us.
Right. And the funny part about it, when they bring stuff out like that, is that they try to use scriptures like that, and they better go ahead and prove that God is not just for Israel. God is for all races of people.
Right.
You understand? That God sent His only begotten Son into the earth. that better go ahead and to give us salvation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that right there, that's where it says that they dwelt with us. It just means that they were just in our presence.
Right.
Because once we took it over, you already know for a fact that there was going to be our servants anyway.
Damn right.
There was going to be our slaves, just like the same way if we try to escape our oppression in America, we go to East India. You understand? We still gonna be working for East Indians.
Right.
You understand? Even though that's their land. Just like the same way when we took over Israel, we made it our land, but yet these heathens were still amongst us in very, very small numbers. All right. So go ahead.
Khan. The book of Joshua, chapter 16 and verse 1. And the lot of the children of Joseph,
The children who?
the children of Joseph,
Who know what two tribes came out of Joseph?
It's like the Chinese and the Japanese. Oh, no,
Quran.
Ephraim Manasseh.
Ephraim and Manasseh. You know what I'm saying? Those are the two tribes that came out of Joseph. All right, so go ahead.
fell from Jordan by Jericho unto the water of Jericho on the east, to the wilderness that goeth up from Jericho throughout Mount Bethel. Verse 2, and goeth up from Bethel to Luz, and pass along unto the border of Artai to Ataroth. Verse 3, and goeth down westward to the coast of Jephalatai, unto the coast of Beth Horon, the nether, and to Gezer, and the goings out thereof are at the sea.
All right, so now what we dive into now is that we dive into the inheritance and the provinces of land that belong towards Ephraim and Manasseh. You understand? Who knows who Ephraim is according to the Bible? What tribe is Ephraim? Quran?
Ephraim is the Puerto Ricans.
And Manasseh?
Manasseh. Cubans.
Mm-hmm. All right, so go ahead.
That's it for the English, sir.
That was it.
Come.
All right, let's read 7 more and then we're going ahead.
Okay, come. This is Salaki. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 16 and verse 4 in the Hebrew. Kalwa, Banya, Yawasap, Manashah, Waparium. Verse 5. Yahaya, Gabawal, Banya, Aparium, Lamashapaktam, Yahaya, Gabawal, Nakalaktam, Mazaraka, Atawath, Adar, Ide, Bayath, Kawadan, Alawawam. Verse 6. Uyatazah, Hagabawal, Hayama, Hamakamat, Hamakamath, Mazatapan, Salakia, Mazatapawan, Winasab, Hagabawal, Mazaraka, Mazarka, the Nath, Shalah, Wabar, Awathawa, Awathwa, Mama Zarak. You know what? Wakar, verse 7. Will you debar? Salakim. Will you rod? Will you Wakar?
Second we went.
Verse 7, sir.
What word?
Ma ya.
Oh, okay. I thought you said yeah.
Oh, Salakim. Ma ya no Wakar. Atawath. When the Irath, where you thought, Salakim. When the Iratha, with the guy, with a guy, but you're right, but Yar Yathwa, we are Tazar, Hayaradan, verse 8. Matapawak, Yalan, Hagabawal, Yama, Nakal, Quana, Wahayawa, that is the Tazat Yawa, Hayama, Za'ath, Nikolath, Mata, Banya, Aparium, Lamashapaktham, verse 9. Wahiram, Wahariyam, Hamakad Lawath, Hamabad Lawath, Labanya, Aparium, Bathawab, Bathawan, Bathawak, Nakalath, Banya, Manasha, Call, Hariyam, Wakatazar, Ya'an, verse 10. Wala'ah, Hariyashawa, Hakananya, Hawanashab, Bagazar, Wayashab, Habahananya, Haka Naanya, Bakarab, Aparium, Hayawam, Hazah, Wayahaya, Lamas, Ibad. Right. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 16 and verse 4 in the English. So the children of Joseph, Manasseh, and Ephraim took their inheritance. Verse 5, the border of the children of Ephraim, according to their families, was thus. Even the border of their inheritance on the east side was at Tarath Adar, onto Beth Horon, the upper. Verse 6, and the border went out towards the sea to Mishmethah on the north side, and the border went about eastward onto Anath Shaloah, and passed by it on the east of Janohah. Verse 7, and it went down from Janohah to Ataroth and to Nearoth, and came to Jericho and went out to Jordan.
Right, because Jericho was also an inheritance that belonged towards Ephraim. Because what man took over Jericho? Who was Ephraimite? What is this book named after?
Joshua.
It's named out of Joshua. Joshua was an Ephraimite. That's why Jericho was given to the tribe of Ephraim. All right, so go ahead.
Verse 8, the border went out from Tekoa westward unto the river Kanah, and the goings out thereof were at the sea. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Ephraim by their families. Verse 9, and the separate cities for the children of Ephraim were among the inheritance of the children of Manasseh.
All right, so there were cities that were separate from Ephraim, from Manasseh. All right, that's self-explanatory. Go ahead.
All the cities with their villages. Verse 10, and they drave out the Canaanites that dwelled in Gezer.
No, that's not right. You gotta read that over.
So, like you, sir. And they drave out the Canaanites.
No, you gotta read that over. Not now. No, it says not now.
Oh, Salakia. Book of Joshua, chapter 16, verse 10, Salakia. And they drave not out the Canaanites that dwelled in Gezer.
All right, so we read in the last chapter how the Judites didn't drove out, what was it, the Jebusites? And now we're reading here in this scripture how the Ephraimites didn't drove out the Canaanites. You understand? And this right here is what's going to bite us in the ass. Excuse me for my language. You understand? As far as not driving these nations out, because when you read the book of Judges, which is the next book that comes after the book of Joshua, you will see the repercussions of our actions of not driving these nations out. Even though they was our servants and our slaves, but yet they was in great number. You understand? Our enemies cannot be in great number. Cannot be in great number than our masters. You understand? As to where they will come up in secret to lead a revolt against us, which is what happened later on. All right, so go ahead.
But the Canaanites dwell among the Ephraimites unto this day and serve under tribute.
That's it, sir. All right, so I'm going to pass the Sabbath service over to the priesthood officer, Mariah.
Might as well be stand, just us.
Like Yashrala.
All right, so now what we're going to do is that we're going to salute the scrolls. We're going to start up here first, and the brothers going to come on down, and then y'all brothers will salute as well.
Come.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Barakia.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Barakia.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Barakia.
Bashim Yahweh Shabarakiyah.
Marshal with me to stand. Point out the dome, you turn face the east. We did the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa. Shabbat Shemaya. Kodesh. Hayah. Shemka. Yahweh. Malawaka. Daba'ah. Ratazai. Hayah. Aisha. Ba'aratazai. Kuwa. Hayah. Bashemaya. Dulanawa. Kub. Cow. You won. What's the luck now? Come what now? Cuss the luck now. Come away now. Wala'ah. Tabayay now. Wanna say I was. A ball. How a shy now. My young. Right. Kaya. Look up. I'm a luckwa. Wa'am. What the power. Now I love me. I'm on.
Our Father, which art in heaven,
Hallowed
be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth as it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
And forgive us of our debts.
Forgive us our debts.
We forgive our debtors.
We forgive our debtors.
And lead us not.
And lead us not
into
into
temptation.
temptation.
But deliver us.
Deliver us
from evil.
from evil.
For thou is the kingdom.
Thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
So be it.
So be it. I got the power of the Hebrew. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahweh Shah. Baba Kashah. Dulanawa. Kat. Kat. Now for us. Call Makala. Call Manawa. Kat. Lots of hard. Sometimes the rain. Kat. Hakim. Hamati. Kat. Al Kawa. The Tama'ala. The God Shun. Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Wa'aman.
Yahweh. Never Yahweh.
Never Yahweh.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
Power to heal.
Power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of sickness.
No manner of disease.
No manner of disease.
Power to cleanse the leper.
Power to cleanse the leper.
Power to raise the dead.
Power to raise the dead.
Power against unclean spirits.
Power against unclean spirits.
Cast them out.
Cast them out.
In the name of Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh.
Thank you so be it.
Thank you so be it. The plan of best Israel, the Hebrew, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem. Yahweh Shah. Dulanawa. Ba'yashah. Wahabayah. Saparia. Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Wa'aman.
Lord. In the name of Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh.
Bless us.
Bless us.
In Israel.
In Israel.
In the school.
In the school.
Bless. Heal.
Shield.
Protect.
Protect.
In the name of Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh.
Thank you so be it.
Thank you so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah. Ayanya. Ahahari. Ma'ayan. Yama'ah. Isariah. Ma'ai. Yahweh. Aisha. Shamayah. Wa'aratazah. Ayathan. Namawat. Galka. Al-Yanawah. Shamarka. Hanala'ah. Yanawah. Mala'ah. Yayashan. Shawamar. Yasha'ah. Yahweh. Shamarka. Yahweh. Tazal. Al-Yah. Yamika. Yawamah. Hashemah. La'ah. Yakaika. Wayarat. Walaylah. Yahweh. Yashamarka. Wakarai. Yashamar. Afna Pasha. Yahweh. Yashamar. Taza'af. Baba Wa'ak. Ma'ida. Wa'ai. Our Lord.
In the English, I lift up my eyes to the hills.
I lift up my eyes to the hills.
From whence comes my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help comes from the Lord.
My help cometh from the Lord,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
Even I suffer thy foot to be moved.
Even I suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee.
He that keepeth thee.
But not slumber.
But not slumber.
Behold.
Behold.
He that keepeth Israel.
He that keepeth Israel.
Straight neither slumber nor sleep.
So neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
Nor the moon by night.
Nor the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil.
The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out.
And thy coming in.
And thy coming in.
From this time forth.
From this time forth.
Even forevermore.
And even forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Hebrew, Alahayam, Adamaya, Luka, all Takaras, all Tashaquat, all Kayahana, Wadika, Yahama, Yawan, Ra'as, Al Amika, Ya'arayamu, Sawada, Wayata, Ya'ayatazawad, Altazapawaya, Marwa, Lakawa, Wanakakiyadam, Magoya, Wala'a, Yazakar, Shom Yashan, Awada, Kaya, Nawayatazawad, Nabah, Yakadu, Ayaka, Warya, Yakarata, Ahoya, Arawa, Wayashimai, Alayam, Nawa'aba, Bulgaria, Gabal, Wa'amawan, Wa'amalak, Palashat, Al-Yashabi, Tazawar, Gun Ashawar, Nalawa, Imam, Hayawa, Zawawad, Nabanya, Nawat, Salah, Aisha, Naham, Kamadi, Kasaya, Sara'ah, Kayabi, Banakar, Koyashawan, Nashamad, Bayan, Da'ira, Hayawa, Daman, La Adama, Shayadam, Nada, Yamua, Kaira, Wakazabah, Wakazazalmanai, Call Nasi Kambu, Ashar, Amara, Nail Rashad, Nanawa, Na'awa, Alahayam, Shayadam, Kakagala, Kakwas, Lapanya, Rawaka, Ka'as, Double Ira, Ya'ira, Wakalahaba, Dala'at, Hariyam, Khan, Dawadakma, Basa Ira, Wawasa, Wapaka, Double Halam, Mala'a, Panyaham, Kwanawan, Waya, Wakwashu, Shipka, Yahawa, Yabashu, Waya, Behold, Idea Waya, Power, Waya, Abadu, Waya, the Iowa, Kaya, Ada, Shipka, Yahawa, Abadu, Iowa, Al, Cap,
And in English, keep not thy silence on your house.
Keep not thy silence on your house.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
And be not still.
On your house.
On your house.
For
For
lo,
lo,
thy enemies make atonement.
thy enemies make atonement.
And they that hate thee,
I
lift up the head.
I lift up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel.
They have taken crafty counsel
against thy people.
against thy people.
And consulted.
And consulted
against thy hidden one.
against thy hidden one.
They have said,
Come,
let us cut them off.
let us cut them off.
For being a nation.
For being a nation.
In the name of Israel.
In the name of Israel.
May we no more
May we
remember.
no more remembrance.
For they have consulted together.
For they have consulted together.
With one consent.
With one consent.
They have confederate against thee.
They have confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The Israelite.
And the Israelites.
Moab.
Moab.
The Hagarene.
The Hagarene.
The Baal.
Baal.
Ammon.
Amalek.
The Philistines.
The Philistines.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
The inhabitants of Tyre.
Asher is also joined with them.
Asher is also joined with them.
They're hoping the children of Lot.
They're hoping the children of Lot.
Salah. Do unto them.
Do unto them.
As unto the
As unto the Midianites.
As to Sisera.
As to Sisera.
As to Jabin.
As to Jabin.
As the brook of Gisan.
As the brook of Gisan.
With paraffin endures.
With paraffin endures.
They become as dung for the earth.
They become as dung for the earth.
And the numbers like a ram.
And the numbers like a ram.
Like the air. Yea.
Yea.
All our princes of Sabbath.
All the princes of Sabbath.
And as a moon.
And as a woman.
Who said.
Let
us take to ourselves.
Let us take to ourselves.
The house of God in possession.
The house of God in possession.
Oh my power.
Oh my power.
Make them like a wheel.
Make them like a wheel.
As a stump before the wind.
As a stump before the wind.
As a fire burning for wood.
As a fire burning for wood.
As the flames set the mountains on fire.
As the flames set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them.
So persecute them.
With thy temper.
With thy temper.
And make them afraid.
And make them afraid.
With thy storm.
With thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame.
That they may seek thy name.
That they may seek thy name.
O Lord,
O Lord,
let them be confounded.
let them be confounded.
In trouble forever.
In trouble forever.
Yea,
Yea.
let me put to shame.
Let me put to shame
And perish.
and perish,
That men may know.
that men may know
That
that
thou,
thou,
whose name alone,
whose name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the Most High,
art the Most High,
over all the earth.
over all the earth. Sorry, Mr. Turner. Men of Israel, and Bab Shabbat, a Muslim, Barak, Yahweh, God, Shem, El Shah, Barak, yes, Matah, Sabbath service dismissed.